Today I'm going to talk about the weather in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I'm going to jump right into it and get right into summer. Certain months in Fayetteville can get very hot and muggy. The average temperature is about 83 degrees during the summer, which isn't bad, but what's hard is the humidity and being so muggy. So what is humidity? Humidity is water vapors in the air.
Humidity, moisture in the air.
If there's a lot of water vapor in the air, the humidity will be higher. Anything over 50 to 60% of humidity is determined to be very high. Unfortunately, the higher the humidity, the wetter it will be. Typically, the hottest seasons here in Fayetteville are between middle May to about, I'd say late August. Due to daylight savings time, I've seen it get sunrise about 6 a.m. and I've seen the sun set about almost 9 o'clock sometimes during the summer months. And of course, that goes back and forth due to daylight savings times. Next season I'd like to talk about is fall. And fall is probably one of my favorite seasons next to spring. The great thing about living in Fayetteville is you're only about 4 hours away from the mountains, and Asheville Mountains is the ones I'm talking about, where you see the fall foliage. And it's the best time to go there between beginning of October to the end of November, and that's when you see the great fall colors, and it's just a great thing to see when you're on the side of the mountain. The temperature during this time is fantastic. It's about between 70 and 77 degrees. So it's a great time if you like to hike, to go up to the mountains, Asheville Mountains, and check it out. The Blue Ridge Mountains are fantastic to look at. The next season is winter. And the winters here are very short, but can get very cold and a little bit rainy sometimes. The temperatures have gotten as low as 35 degrees. I've seen as low as 28 degrees. The big question I always get asked is, does it snow in Fayetteville? And yes, it does snow here, but not very often. I think it snowed last year. I think we had some snowflakes, not enough to even make a snowman, to make anybody even enjoy that or even make a snowball. I think I made an ice snowball because it was just very wet and wouldn't stick together. But I can't remember the last time it snowed very heavily here. Of course, because it does not snow here often, we don't have a lot of snow trucks here or to clear the roads, only the main thoroughways or arteries of the city. So that people from up north, they get upset with us when they move down here and they're wondering why schools close or why businesses are closed. It's because we're not used to this kind of weather, first of all. And second of all, we don't have a lot of trucks running around town to clear all the roads. It's just not needed. There's a reason to have 50 trucks if it only snows here heavily maybe I think once every three to 5 years, maybe. I lived there for 30 years and I can't remember the last time it snowed very heavy here. Typically the coldest months are going to be around mid-November to just about, I'd say, March. Middle of March. I have seen it, speaking of snow, I have seen it snow in March, very heavily too. So anything can happen. Once you move to North Carolina or Fayetteville, you'll hear a saying of, don't like the weather, don't worry, it'll change in 10 minutes, and that is so true. Right now I'm filming this, it is December 3rd, 2020, and it has been very cold and windy for the past few days. But just last week, I was wearing flip-flops and it was 70 degrees outside. So, go figure. So, the last season we're going to talk about is spring. And spring is probably my favorite season next to fall. If not, they're both probably about tied for me. If you're coming to visit Fayetteville or North Carolina in general, best time is to come around April time. From April to about June is when the weather is the best and the humidity is the lowest in Fayetteville. So if you're coming to visit anybody in Fayetteville, I'd definitely make it during the springtime. Another question I get asked a lot is, does it get cloudy here in Fayetteville? And yes, it can get cloudy. We're not like Seattle, nothing like that, where it's cloudy and rainy all the time, but it does get cloudy here. For the most part, I'd say during the summer, it's so hot and humid that you're actually hoping that it gets cloudy and rains a little bit, just to get rid of, just to kind of bring down the temperature, because it's so hot and humid. Does it rain here in Fayetteville? Yes, we get some rain here. It's not a lot of rain, but we do have, I would say we have more months that are rainier than the next. It kind of varies back and forth. During hurricane season, I'd say it rains the most probably, which is typically June, July to just about October. I remember when Hurricane Matthew hit us in 2016, I lost my house during the flood. And there's a picture of my house right there, as you can see. And it rained about 11 inches 10 days before the hurricane hit us, which I live on a cul-de-sac. It definitely raised the river, the Raeford River. And then with the hurricane Matthew coming, it just made it worse. But typically, for the most part, I wouldn't say we're a very rainy state at all. We're more sunny and not as cloudy. Does it get windy here? Yes, and you're actually hoping for the wind, especially during the summertime, because it is just so hot and humid, as I restated earlier. But your windiest months, if I had to choose, looking at the graphs, is typically between November to May. So if you're a beach person, we're only about 2 hours away from the beach from Fayetteville, and which is great for the summer, spring, and beginning of fall months. Or cooler, of course, during the fall, winter, and spring. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.